When you think of a $5,000 vehicle, you're thinking of a very rusted out, like old Silverado, a Corolla, a Camry, something like that. Well, in today's day and age here in 2024, if you look hard enough, you can find one of these. This is the Lexus LS460L, an ultra luxurious Lexus flagship sedan. And today I'm going to show you why this is the absolute best bang for your buck vehicle on the entire car market, hands down.
Hello everyone and welcome to Performance on Wheels. My name is Todd. My son Austin and I make all sorts of videos on all sorts of different cars. If this is your first time tuning in to Performance on Wheels, we'd love it if you'd hit that like button and hit that subscribe button to help us along our journey, and let's see where we go.
What you can expect from today's video is we're going to talk about what the Lexus LS460L was to the entire car world back in 2007. And then as time progresses throughout the video, we're going to show you what all of that engineering that Lexus did back in 2007. Actually, it was a lot earlier than 2007, but we'll get into that. We are going to show you what all of that time and effort they put into this car did to make it an amazing purchase, still at 240,000 miles like the example in this video, now in 2024, and why buying a high mileage one shouldn't bug you or affect you at all. So without further ado, let's talk about what Lexus did to make this the ultimate flagship back in 07.
The first thing that we did when Austin bought this 460L is we thought it would be appropriate, not knowing a lot about the cars, to get in this and prove that Lexus reliability by putting 4 of us in this car and heading a few hundred miles away south into Iowa, enjoying the road trip that a Lexus might offer. So this kind of proven success there, right? We're still here. We're still making a video talking about the car after that 4-hour one-way journey in a car we knew nothing about. And it was quite a pleasant experience. And the engineering that went into this car, it really has proven the test of time, knowing that here we are in 2024, and we're still kind of surprised and amazed at this 2007 released 4th generation Lexus LS460 has to offer. And before we can really dive into the details of this 4th generation Lexus LS, I think it's important to understand where that first generation came from. Back in 1983, the year I was born, LS400. So we have something to do here with engines, right? Because we went from the 400 with a 4-liter to a 430 with a 4.3-liter to a 460 with a 4.6-liter.
To a 600 with a 5.0?
Interesting, right? Anyways, so back in 1983 is when the development for that Lexus LS first began. And it wasn't released until, I believe, 1997. And so the same was true for when the 2007 model year was released in 2006, because the design and engineering and thought started going into this car like almost 7 years earlier, back in like 2001.
Yeah.
This was the most expensive project that Lexus ever took on. They put like over $1 billion into the designing, the creativity, the different tech. Like, there's a lot going on here.
That right there is point number 1 as to why this is such a reliable vehicle. Over $1 billion of development went into producing this amazing vehicle, and there's no doubt about it. The engine and the transmission show when it comes to reliability for that exact reason.
And Austin, bringing up the transmission, that's one of the first that the Lexus LS460 offered. First time in like automotive history, an 8-speed automatic transmission was used in the Lexus.
Yeah, and the same technology is now used quite commonly today in a lot of modern cars in 2024, and this was the first one in the world to have an 8-speed. That also means that this 4.6-liter V8 can get upwards of 25, 26, 27, 28 miles per gallon using premium fuel, and I'm still experiencing that today, even with 240,000 miles on that engine. And just to show how amazing this engine is, look at how unbelievably smooth it still idles while even revving with 240,000 miles on it. just barely moving the water in this glass. That is very, very impressive. And this engine is also significant because it can go 0 to 60 a full second faster than the previous 4.3 liter V8 we previously saw on the LS.
What Austin said is exactly true. Like, so first point here, right? A mid 5-second 0 to 60 time is still relevant in 2024. Like,
it's actually very impressive. This thing has surprised me the few times I put my foot down. Like, it's not slow.
right,
It's no slouch.
it's not slow at all, but that it's obviously not like a performance sedan.
No.
So just to make that clear, this isn't like meant to win races. But the whole like water bottle experiment, like seeing how little that water was moving when you're revving that 240,000 mile motor to 5,000, 6,000 RPMs, like every single one of these motors, before they went into the car, the engine engineers would take their stethoscopes and make sure they're perfectly balanced and that there's no noises that are out of the ordinary. Like, there's a lot of craft that has gone into these Lexus LSs.
I mean, just for an example, in today's day and age, engines are built in masses on production lines. They're not tested. They're not even started. They're thrown in these cars and they're started as soon as the start button's hooked up. As long as they run and drive, they're sent into a yard, which is then sent on a train, which is then sent to another yard, which is sent on a truck, and now they're at your dealership. So there is so much engineering and development that went into these cars before they got sent to that yard, which got sent to the train, which made it all the way to the dealership. There's so much time and effort that the engineers put into every single one of these cars before it actually got to the point of sale.
And because we're at the back of the car now, I do want to point out that little L. And one thing that's interesting is that L, like now we're talking about the true luxury saloon, the luxury sedan, which is what that LS stands for. But this is taking it to another level. And what that L means is that the wheelbase actually is about 6 inches longer, approximately, than the non-L version. But what's interesting there is the overall length of the car is only about 4 inches longer than the non-L version. So
yeah.
6 inch longer wheelbase, and obviously you have that longer rear door, or the wider rear door, but only 4 inches in depth. That's kind of interesting, I think. So anyways, moving on from the engine, which is an absolute pleasure. Didn't even burn any oil on that first maiden voyage with 240,000 miles.
Not at all. It still looks fresh as can be. Fresh oil change before we left, and it's completely full on the dipstick.
I love it. So this was a big deal. This was a release into that next level of taking on the Germans. Speaking of Germans, Austin, I recently had a 2015 Audi A8 L, so a 2015. What is that? 5, 6, 7, 8 years newer than this car.
Yeah, that's quite a bit newer.
We had a conversation that 7, 8 year newer car, my math's off at the moment, but the tech in this, the quality of this 2007 was, I don't know, even maybe arguably better than that Audi 2015.
There is a few things that I like more about the Audi for sure, but there's some things that truly stick out about this to me than the Audi. One of which being the overall interior materials throughout the entire interior. The wood and the leather really sticks out to me in this versus the Audi. Just the plushness, the quality, the feeling, the smell is still there, being as old as a 2007. The overall quality of this car and the way that the fit and finish was put together on the interior, I think is better than your Audi A8s was, in my opinion.
And here's the interesting thing. We were also talking about the fact that when I bought that car, it was about $30,000, and you paid $5,000 for this 240,000 mile car. And we were having a hard time separating that difference in price when we were on our road trip. Right?
Yeah.
So very interesting. Getting back to talking about the Lexus LS, and just knowing, ending on the point of the L, like you have the same car. It's just a length difference. Same motor, same, not same features.
The back seats change a little bit.
Yeah, because you start getting heated and cooled seats, and you have the opportunity for that executive package where
actually,
you're getting a recline.
Just before we start getting into this Lexus a little bit more, I want to go through and name every single option this car has quick that makes it relevant, if not even nicer than cars here in 2024. So check this out quick. All 4 doors have soft close. All 4 seats are heated and cooled. Power telescoping steering wheel, and if you look in the mirror, we even have a power sunshade. phone connectivity, backup camera, self-parking, and parking sensors. Auto folding mirrors, heated steering wheel, like I mentioned, heated and cooled seats, front and rear. Highly adjustable driver and passenger seats. Fully adjustable rear seats and rear climate control. 19-speaker Mark Levinson high-end surround sound system. Adaptive headlights that turn with the wheel. Optional air suspension. I highly recommend not getting it. Automatic headlight cleaner. Rain sensing wipers. I think this one's really cool because a lot of modern cars don't have this. Keyless entry and lock on all 4 handles. Selectable drive modes. Navigation, although it's very dated, but all of this system actually looks still very relevant in 2024, I'm not gonna lie. For steering wheel controls, we have phone pickup and drop. We can change up some of our displays up here. Radio controls, auto hold, that is right. It'll hold the brake for you when you come to a stop. We also have the voice button here, so you can talk to make calls, and then volume up, volume down. We also have a power up and a power down tailgate in the rear, which still works flawlessly today.
It is really cool that not only does the LS have all those features, but they all still work, right?
There is one feature on this car that doesn't work, and it is that passenger side. You're standing right next to it, the power folding mirror right over there. And I have found one of those on eBay for surprising. I want you to take a guess on how much it is.
$85.
No, it's $112, which is way cheaper than I was guessing it would be to purchase an entire assembly that is paint to match.
And although you listed off this huge array of features, that's not even like really skimming the surface of what the 4th generation Lexus LS offered. There's some really cool tech in here. Like, this is the first luxury sedan that offered a front collision avoidance system, right? So using the radars, using the cameras that are in place, if a collision was being detected by the system, it would tighten up the seatbelt, it would close the windows, it would even offer some braking option. And there's also the ability to have the optional adaptive cruise control, which, like, that's relevant in newer cars. There's even new cars that don't have that feature yet, right?
Yeah, and something I just want to bring up, it does concern a lot of people, and I'm sure it's going off the top of your head. I would never buy one of these because of all these tech features. It has so many electrical things going on. I just want you to know that there is so many forums out there on these cars, and the main reliability concerns have absolutely nothing to do with tech. I have never read somebody that's had an issue with tech on these cars. On everything that I've gone through with all of these features, the only thing that I have seen to date is that there's an issue with the fuse box that some people have had to replace because both low beams will go out at the same time. Other than that, every single tech on tech accessory in this car, I have not read anybody having issues with them, which is unbelievable to me.
There's even an infrared system that is measuring body temperature for the climate control to make sure that, like, if you have it in its auto state, it's adjusting temperature appropriately based on how people's bodies are reacting, right? So there's so many cool things. Air diffusers, the possibility for recline in the back seats, like all these really cool items. I remember being at the car show when the 1st generation Lexus LS came out and being wowed at the age of, let's see, what would I be, like 13 or something at the point? 10, 13? Like, it was an amazing car at the time, and I believe it's so underrated just by people dismissing the fact that it's this massive sedan that is similar in length to some 3-row SUVs, right? So it's this huge sedan, but there's just so much cool tech and features that started here and then moved on throughout the automotive industry, which is pretty cool.
This was the first for so many things. This absolutely broke the rules of so many different cars on the road. And it's just amazing that to this day, this was probably the most, what do we want to say, change in the automotive industry in one car that we've ever seen, probably. So this was probably the biggest game changer out of any vehicle ever built. That so many vehicles today still use the technology that was released in this car.
It is pretty cool. The other thing that I will note is, like, a lot of people do love this car, right? So the Mercedes S-Class still has the pole position as far as how many are sold.
You better keep your mouth shut there. You're gonna have some people very upset that you ever compared this to a Mercedes, a BMW, or an Audi, because it is on another level, apparently, according to a lot of the owners.
Specifically to sales numbers.
Yes.
And I was shocked that this is number 2 as far as worldwide sales.
What's number 1?
the S-Class.
Oh, interesting. That is
That's where I was
surprising.
going with the car.
There's going to be an upcoming buyer's guide video where we're going to go through all of the main issues on this car. But if you're in the market, I want to bring up the main points that I have found to be the highest concerns of this vehicle. There was a recall on this car in something in the top end of the motor. I believe it was something in the valve train. But this is a very common issue on this car. And just make sure that your recall was done, because once they get in the higher end of miles, it's out of recall and they're not going to do it themselves. So just make sure that was done. There's also some coolant leaks that are known to happen in the top half of the motor. They're going to puddle up in the top half of the V8. We're going to go into those more in depth in the buyer's guide, like I said. And then the most controversial item on this entire car, people were telling me not to buy this car because of this, which I just think is the craziest thing I've ever heard. The upper control arms. So this car actually features 8 upper control arms. There's 2 instead of 1 massive A arm, basically. And it makes this thing ride amazing. This vehicle is not featured with the air suspension, which I would highly recommend not getting, because it's an expensive, timely, and costly repair that is just a pain in the butt that nobody really wants to deal with. And the way that the stock coil suspension that I'm rocking here in this Lexus rides is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it is an amazing coil system. So if you think you need the air suspension because it's going to be so nice of a ride and so plush, I'm sure it is a little bit better than the coil suspension here. But this coil suspension, I would put right on par with your Audi's air suspension system.
Yeah,
it is.
You're 100% right. And regardless of the large luxury sedan you're talking about a very heavy vehicle that has a very plush ride, that has multiple control arms. So every single one of the manufacturers that is a complaint on, I will say.
Yeah, so just stay away from the air suspension system if you can, if you're in the market for one of these. But this coil suspension system is awesome. The upper control arms, guys, they're 2 bolts per control arm. I mean, come on. Do them yourself. Do them in your garage. I've read videos of or read posts of people saying the Lexus dealer quoted me $2,000, almost $3,000. I mean, guys, come on. Buy the parts online. They're like 600 bucks for the entire set. Knock them out in a day in your garage. It's not a big deal. There's some control arms. Don't let some control arms scare you away from such a reliable engine, transmission, full powertrain, because that's truly what matters.
I'm looking forward to diving into this Lexus LS platform with my son Austin in future videos. Please remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Enjoyed seeing you guys today. Looking forward to next time.
See you guys.